Hey. Oh my goodness, I'm so glad you're watching and listening. You need to subscribe to this channel. You need to hit the likes and all of that stuff because number one, we have great content. Number two, we have super cool guests. And I'm happy to introduce to you Michelle Bengtson. Did I say that right?
Close
Bengtson.
enough.
It's B-A-N-G, but it's spelled B-E-N-G.
I answer to anything, Sarah, because I gave up Miller for a name nobody can spell or pronounce because I really love the guy.
Yeah, well, I get that.
Yeah.
I gave up Hickey.
Yours might have been a better swap.
Not quite, but depending on your perspective.
Yeah.
So, Michelle, tell us a little bit of your background. Like, where are you from, and what do you like doing? Who are you, really? Right?
Yeah. Well, I'm originally from Kalamazoo, Michigan. Yes, there really is a Kalamazoo, but in the Lord's providence, He took me to South Florida, which is where I met my husband, and we married, and we've been married for 35 years. We have 2 young adult sons who are walking with the Lord, and that's my greatest treasure. That's my greatest joy. Yeah. But by trade, I'm a board certified clinical neuropsychologist.
Clinical neuropsychologist. Wow. How'd you get into that?
You know, that was the Lord's work. I always knew that I wanted to help people, and I thought it would be in the counseling field, but I have a very analytical, problem-solving mind, and so I love to see how the brain works, and so I evaluate and treat patients for any kind of brain dysfunction, whether it's ADHD or learning disabilities, depression, anxiety, post-brain injury, or dementia.
That's interesting, and the brain is it's phenomenal.
Yeah, our brain is our biggest organ.
Our biggest organ?
Our biggest organ.
Is bigger than your liver? I thought your liver was the biggest. Yeah. No, obviously not. Huh. So when you started looking into the brain, what parts did you find the most interesting?
I sat through 3 neuroanatomy courses, studying every detail of the brain. And I had been a believer since I was a little girl, but as I sat through those classes, Sarah, I thought, how in the world can anyone not believe in God? Just the intricacy with He formed the brain and all that it does for us, all that it's capable of doing, it just astounded me. I would walk outside after that and look at the trees and go, that's nothing compared to our brain. How can you not believe in God?
Yeah, the complexity of it and same thing. Did you ever read The Body Keeps the Score?
I did, yes.
What did you think of that?
I had mixed thoughts about that. I think that he was spot on with a lot of it, but I think so much of it comes back to the areas in our life that we close off to the Lord, that we think either that's too shameful and I don't want God to see it, as if He doesn't know it already, or we're too hurtful and painful that we want to just kind of lock up in a closet and forget that it's there, when all along He's wooing us and saying, no, I see it, I know it, will you bring it to me so I can help heal it?
And that book is like trauma, right? I mean, kind of rooted. And isn't he kind of the dude that maybe not coined, but really put on the map PTSD? I mean, he's kind
to a
of
large
the
degree.
Father of that somewhat. Yeah, I thought that was a really fascinating book. Do you like to read?
I love to read.
What do you like to read?
Usually inspirational Christian. Occasionally I'll allow myself the pleasure of reading a novel, but I'm either reading for my own personal growth or I'm reading as research for my own books.
Yeah. And how many books have you written?
6. The 6th one will come out this summer.
And do you like writing?
I love writing.
Why?
I can't not write. It's almost like a compulsion. I knew since I was a little girl that I was supposed to write, but the interesting thing is that when I was in graduate school, I think it's the mandate of every graduate school, law school, medical school professor to slash out every ounce of self-esteem within you with the intent of building you back up, but they don't always do so good at the building you back up. And I had a professor tell me once, you will never write and you will never speak. And I believed it, even though I knew as a little girl that's what I was supposed to do. And eventually I found myself at a writer's conference, which was odd in itself since I would never write. And it was there that the Lord's like, you can either believe that lie or you can believe the one who put the dream within you. And I was like, all right, I'll receive that, Lord. Thank you.
So what's your writing process?
It is the oddest process of any writer. Even my agent's like, you're the only one who writes that way. A lot of writers will sit down and they'll either have an outline or they'll write chapter 1 to chapter 2 to chapter 3. That's not how the Lord ever gives it to me. He will often give me a chapter for chapter 7, a paragraph for chapter 7, 2 paragraphs for chapter 3, a line for chapter 1. And then in the end, somehow, He's worked it together so it all flows. It's the oddest process, but it works for me.
Yeah, it works for you. That's totally good. Do you write every day?
No.
And so when you write a book, what does that look like?
When I write a book, usually I've taken lots and lots of notes from the point where I feel like, maybe He's given me an idea, let's explore this. And then after I've submitted the proposal and the publisher has said, yes, I'm interested, then I usually will write Monday through Friday. More during the day than not, but I have to give myself some breathing room. I have to give myself some room to be in nature. I have to give myself some room to be creative in other ways. Otherwise, it feels too forced. And I need room for Him to speak. I don't want it to be my words. I want it to be His words.
And so, like Monday through Friday, do you do like 2 hours for whatever? I mean, do you have like kind of make yourself at the minimum? What does that look like?
No, it's not really a minimum. It's more as long as it's flowing. And then when I feel like I'm getting stuck, that's usually a pretty good indication I need a break.
And when you take a break, what do?
Walk. I love walking, but not on a treadmill. Hate walking on a treadmill, but walking outside. Just looking at nature, hearing God with my praise and worship music playing.
And how long do you walk?
Usually about an hour. Sometimes more.
Yeah. Do you do like a neighborhood route?
We live right next to a city trail system. So right off our front door is the start of the trail. So we could walk 50 miles if we wanted to.
Wow.
Not that I ever have. I'm not really that motivated, but it's beautiful because it's in nature. And right now it's spring. And so all the trees are budding. Yeah. Flowers are blooming.
Yeah. So do you walk like in February? Because you live in Dallas, right? Near Dallas. February, December. It's a little cold then.
I walk year round, but lately, now that I've gotten to be a little bit older and a little less tolerant of the temperature, if it's below freezing, I'll be on the treadmill instead, but not enjoying it nearly as much.
Yeah. And you said that there are other things you do for creativity, right? So writing is a creative, but what are the other creative outlets?
I love to make jewelry. I'm dabbling in watercolor painting.
Wow.
My new daughter-in-law loves to watercolor, so that's something I'm doing with her. I love to be in the garden.
What do you grow?
Flowers. Any kind of flowers. I don't do the vegetable thing. No. But when we were living in South Carolina when COVID hit, and so that was my therapy. So we went from having one garden to 12. Now that we've moved back to the Dallas area, my husband's not as excited about that many gardens on the property, so I'll keep up the ones that are there.
Yeah, I get you. And where in South Carolina?
We were just outside of Greenville.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it was a beautiful area.
Very nice.
Yeah.
And your 2 sons, how old are they about?
I have a 25-year-old who's a pilot and living in South Florida. He just got married in August.
Oh.
And then I have a almost 21-year-old who's a junior at Liberty University in Lynchburg.
Wow. Yeah. And what's he studying?
He's studying computer science.
Oh, fun.
He thinks it's fun. I don't think that would be fun, but he thinks it's fun.
Yeah. And how do you like to vacation?
Go to the beach. I'm most at peace on the water. Lake, pond, ocean, any place I can be near water.
So South Carolina, do you have space on the beach there?
When we lived in South Carolina, our property was on a lake, and we were within 4 hours of the beach.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah, it was really nice.
Very nice. And your dream vacation, if you could go anywhere and do any vacation, what would that look like to you?
It would be to go to New Zealand. My mother was from New Zealand.
Oh, wow.
So that's kind of homeland.
She's a Kiwi.
She is.
Nice.
Yeah. And all of her family was from New Zealand, but my husband has yet to be there. So one day I hope we get to go and I can show him my heritage.
And where all have you been? Have you been before?
I have been.
Yeah.
I was fortunate to go as a child, but I haven't been back in about 20 years. So a lot has changed.
Yeah.
You know,
so did you go all around?
Yeah, North and South Island.
Huh.
My mom was from Christchurch.
Yeah.
But then her sister and brother-in-law moved to the North Island, so we spent some time up there as well.
That's totally cool.
It was. It's beautiful. And the people there are just amazing.
And there's a lot of ethnic diversity there.
There is.
And people, it's a little, they don't anticipate that.
Yeah.
But you go and, did you ever read The Hobbit?
I did.
Right?
Yeah.
So you know there's like a Hobbitville there.
Yes. Yeah.
That's amazing. Because they shot like the Shire and all of that. It's like this really cool.
Yeah.
That's nice. And what is your favorite novel that you ever read?
The Sensible Shoes series. It's a Christian trilogy, and it's about our spiritual growth, but in a very quiet way. It just kind of walks you into the healing that the Lord wants to do in your heart.
The Sensible Shoes.
The Sensible Shoes series.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I'll have to check that
You
out.
will.
You ever read Hind's Feet on High Places?
Yes.
That's like, I love that one.
Yeah.
It's great. Yeah. Cool. Very cool. And do you like to cook?
Not so much anymore.
No.
I used to, if I'm being honest, I used to love it. I used to love the whole process, poring over the cookbooks and meal planning and having people over. Not really so much anymore.
No.
It's more of a necessary evil, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, I get you. I get you. And did you prefer to cook sweet or savory?
Well, I have a really big sweet tooth, so that would be my preference.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to stick healthy, more on the savory.
Yeah, I got you. And on your sweet tooth, what favorite desserts? The top 3?
My mother's cheesecake, Nutella bread pudding,
Wow.
and mocha chip gelato.
And are you a coffee person?
I love coffee, but not really for the coffee, for the creamer inside the coffee. So I like a little bit of coffee with my creamer.
Yeah. So you like lattes and
Yes.
maybe a flat white.
Yes, as opposed to my husband who, he likes the coffee so thick you can stand a spoon up in it. Yeah.
Turkish coffee.
Yeah, or he loves Cuban coffee.
Oh, right. I understand that too.
Yeah.
So fun. I kind of like coffee myself. All right. Well, thank you for watching, listening. Here's a question for you to answer. What's your favorite dessert? That's an easy one, right? Seriously. Thank you for subscribing. Make sure you hit the notification bell right there. We'll keep you posted when we put up new content. And again, we are so very, very happy that you have subscribed.